Hi again.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Bridget.
Erica.
So, hi, Erika. Hi, Bridget, and hi, everybody. I'm Anna from GreenGeeks, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar with Bridget Wheeler, How to Effectively Write Social Media Posts. And we are looking forward to this webinar a lot. We all need to learn more about social media. I will introduce you, Bridget, in a moment. I just want to say a couple of words to the attendees about GreenGeeks. For those of you who are watching and are not familiar with us, we're a 300% green energy web hosting provider, which essentially means we put back 3 times the amount of power we consume into the grid in the form of renewable energy. We also have been recognized by the US EPA since 2009 as a green power partner. And we offer shared hosting, reseller hosting, VPS, and dedicated server. So moving on to our webinar, I just want to give a couple of housekeeping items. Please, if you can go ahead, if you have a question, can you put them in the Q&A and Bridget will answer them at the end of the presentation. But you can also chat in the chat. We are monitoring the chat room. Just remember to select everyone if you want everybody to see what you're discussing. And as always, this is being recorded. So if you have to step away, don't worry, because we will be sending you the recording in a couple of days. And also today we have enabled live transcription. So you have the ability to actually enable the transcription and read during the webinar by going to live transcript and then show subtitles. And then finally, at the end of the webinar, for those of you who are going to stay with us, we have a raffle and 5 lucky winners will receive a copy of Bridget's book, yeah, Keys to Being Social, Being Real in a Virtual World. Yeah, thank you for showing that. I'm gonna first have Erica come and say who she is, introduce herself. She'll be helping us with chat and the Q&A and anything else, and of course the raffle. Hi, Erica.
Hi, Anna. Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Barbosa. I am from Costa Rica. Today, I'm going to be in the chat reading your comments and sharing some links. And I hope you enjoy today with Bridget and have fun today. Thank
you. It will be fun. Now I'm going to say hi to Bridget. Bridget, I think we met at work, my first work camp, Orange County in 2019. So it's been a while. We've known each other for a while. Yeah, you too. Erica was with us. I remember. And the last time I actually saw you in person was Work Camp US in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Before, you know.
That was my second to last Work Camp before it all shut down.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully it will get better. So Bridget is an author of several marketing books. She's a teacher who focuses on building relationships. Small businesses benefit from consults with Bridget that result in an actionable strategy to focus their effort and budgets. Bridget's services include in-house training, marketing strategy, copywriting, and social media account management. So Bridget, I know you want to introduce yourself, and you can tell people who you are. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, thanks for coming, everybody. My name is Bridget Willard, and I'm the CEO of Bridget Willard, LLC. I had a hard time coming up with that name. and I've been doing social media for clients since 2009. And I have a distinct style and pattern because of the visibility. And I find that most people can do their own social media with a little bit of help, just tiny, tiny tweaks. And so I'm so excited to be invited to present. And hopefully you will take my double dog dare to try it my way for a month and see what works.
Great. Would you like to share your screen and start?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I'm so excited about this. And one of the main reasons why I'm excited about it is because it's so, like, I don't know, controversial, is that the right word? Or like, just because we have it on our phones, it seems like it's super easy to just, do something. Or even worse is a lot of our developer and WordPress friends, we like to automate things. And, jetpacks, publicize, or I use revival posts. It doesn't always do it kind of like the best way, but it'll get out there. And so I have some tiny tweaks and a little bit of formatting that I think might help everyone, because what we're trying to do is get people to see our posts. So I say tweets in this because sometimes we forget that what we're trying to do is get people to see what we're doing. So how many people will see it? So back in around 2009, Scott Stratton had a book called Unmarketing. It still exists. I highly recommend this book. And he called it the 10-10-10 rule. It's not on his website anymore, but it makes a lot of sense. Like, who's actually seeing your tweets? So you break down the math. So with the 10-10-10 rule, it goes like this. At any given time, 10% of your followers are online. So I have 19,000 followers. So that would be 1,900 followers. Okay. So at any given time, 1,900 people who follow me are on Twitter. And then only 10% of those will see a tweet. So if I tweet right now, about 198 people will see it. And 10% of those will respond if it's like a great tweet. So if things go viral, like if I put out my selfie with my coffee cup, I found this jumper on Zara on Poshmark. That's exactly my brand color. So of course I had to buy it. So let's like say a bunch of people were like, wow, it's amazing. I use Poshmark too. Like that's 20 people at the max. So a lot of times when I talk about doing a little bit of social media by hand, people think, oh, I'll have so many notifications. When in fact, having almost 20,000 followers, getting 20 notifications for one tweet, that would be amazing. Like print a screenshot out and put it on your refrigerator, amazing. I like people to kind of scroll back. What they think in their minds is a lot of work. And I will also say that my social media strategy for myself and all of my clients is always Twitter first. Well, website, Twitter, like that. So, but aside from your website, but sharing things from your website, sharing links, not just links, but sharing links especially is a little bit of a tricky thing. And we have to remember why we're posting on social media in the first place, because it's very easy to think that it doesn't matter how we post. It doesn't matter, because all we're doing is creating relationships and building brand awareness and driving people to our website. All we're doing, in quotes. So that's the hardest part, is building those relationships by having replies, by replying to other people's tweets, using your consistent branding. Obviously I'm wearing almost exactly the same color, orange or marigold, whatever Rhonda would call it, as my slide. It's the same one as my logo, right? So like I spent $13 on this jumper because it matched, right? So it's a nod, right? So what you're doing is you're constantly want people to think about you. But the problem is, first they have to see your posts. and that's the problem. It's like, so that's what we're going to conquer today. Why it matters, how things are formatted, how to be noticed. And how to be noticed is really easy. Use a template, use something that works. Just like websites, Okay, so why formatting matters. A lot of times we think we're going to put this tweet out, this LinkedIn post, this Instagram post, and everybody is so excited. They're like going to go to that, or they're going to go read that. Or a lot of times people think that that visitors come to our Twitter profile, our Facebook profile, as if it were a web page. Like nobody is typing in their browser, facebook.com/Bridget.Willard. That happens exactly 0 times. Or if it does happen, it's because I'm doing it because I just want an easy way to see my profile. So people aren't coming to our social media profiles by intentionally, not normally. Normally they're not, okay? So they're seeing a home feed based upon the algorithms and how people are behaving on those lines. So it's a really, really, really important that on the internet, people, it's important to notice that on the internet, people do not read. If they're not picking up a book and reading every single word, they're scanning, they're looking for that familiar logo, that familiar face that on a phone is about 1 centimeter small, right? They're looking for my little tiny bourbon cup. They're looking for the GreenGeeks guy, right? What's his name again? I forgot. But anyway, he's so cute. I love the GreenGeeks guy. I think he's the most adorable. I loved my my yoga t-shirt. It's just the cutest. But that's what they're looking for. They see that, they see something familiar, and then they stop scrolling. Scroll, 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 and then they stop. So they don't go to your profile like website. They're not reading every tweet. So your post must be easy to see. So like if you're looking at Twitter, for example, on a desktop, it's bigger. But if you're looking on your phone, you got to remember your phone is about the size of your hand. That's a very small window. If you're on a tablet, maybe it's a little bit bigger, but we're talking about maybe 2.5 or 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, you know, it's a very small, and we just do this like little kids come out of the womb swiping now, like they're swiping this way, they're swiping that way, they're going up, they're going down. So we're just looking for something that we recognize. And in this particular screenshot, I see Jason Resnick. And so I would stop and see what he has to say because I really like him. Now, Miro is being promoted, so I'm probably not going to care about it because I don't use Miro. Rhonda does, but I don't, right? So we want to be noticed. And the reason why each profile, each platform should be formatted slightly differently is because they each have their own culture, right? So why are people on Instagram? Why are they on Facebook? Why are they on, and what do they do when they get there? And more importantly, what do you as a business person, what do you as a website developer, what do you as a client want people to do once they see your post on social media? Do you want them to like it? Do you want them to share it? Do you want them to click on something, or do you want them to vote on your poll? Or, you know, you really need to understand it's about the human behavior. So trendy, whatever, people are always following trends, but it's the consistency that makes the big difference. And remember, when we're doing social media, it's about branding. And that branding is consistent over time. Now you may rebrand and change your logo, but you want that consistent voice and that consistent presence. You want to publish on your blog post once a month, or publish on your website, publish a blog post on your website once a month or once a week or every Tuesday and every Thursday. You want that consistency because that trains your audience to look for you. So when you do what works, there's an aspect of what works globally across all types of clients, business to business, retail, through all kinds of industries, and also what works specifically for your industry. And you'll only know that by doing. So the templated format is something that I inherently started doing because I started my career at 14 years old as a secretary. So you do things that are hard, you do them the same way over and over again. You have form letters. Now we call those like email marketing templates, but templates, swipe files, whatever you want to call it, having a specific format allows you to be consistent in your posting because it makes it more, having a template makes it easier for you to figure out what to say. And it makes it easier to think on the fly. So hard returns are your best friend. And I would say there are not enough people, especially on Facebook, pressing the enter key or the return key. It was return because typewriters, you would type and the thing would go like this, and then you click the return so you could start the new line. So whatever your keyboard says, I have a MacBook Pro, it says enter or return, but a hard return is like the best, your best friend, because it makes the text much easier to scan. We scan visually because of our humanity. We're looking for danger, so we scan right to left, left to right, horizontally. Now, because of our phones, everybody wants things up and down, but from a biological standpoint, humans scan left to right, and that's why images in the landscape form and videos in landscape are much better. It has to do with the biological aspects of how our eyes work. It's much easier to scan like that. And you want things to kind of move down. If you think about decorating, and you've ever seen a show about the rule of threes in decorating or how to decorate a bookcase, you want like not just all books, but you want books and then like a base, and then you go down to the next line, but the base is in a different space so that your eyes move down. And it's the same way that we make our websites. That's the same way we design our websites. We want people to move side to side and then down so that they scroll. So you really, really, really want those hard returns. It makes the post or the tweet much more scannable and larger. And big is better when your people are scrolling. So another really important thing about my templates is I strongly believe with all of my being that hashtags should always be at the end and completely separately. There are a lot of biological and accessibility reasons for this. One is when you are scanning, your brain is looking for words. A hashtag becomes a link and it makes it much more difficult to read. In addition, a screen reader will read it differently because a hashtag is a link. People often forget that. And you don't want people to click on the hashtag when you're using a link. You want them to click on the link. So the first thing that should be blue or an anchor text is that actual link to your website, to your video, to your event registration. Put the hashtags at the end because hashtags are for search. So you really just need them at the end, like keywords on SEO. Again, on Twitter or social media in general, GIFs, GIFs, however you want to say it, GIFs over emoji. Emoji are small. They do not increase in size. The screen reader will always read the name of that emoji. Emoji on social media are for decoration. They are not good for a replacement of words. And I hope to convince you to try my way just for a month, see if you get more engagement. Also, I'm just going to be really honest, like those tweets and posts that have hashtags and emoji vomit, they look like garbage. And if they look like garbage, it's too much to read. And when we care about people who are highly sensitive and neurodivergent folks, that's also part of accessibility. If something is, if there's a lot of things going on visually, people will just scroll by because it's overwhelming. So those are distinct opinions, and I'm sure y'all have questions. I will come back to that. Okay, so here's my format for Twitter. Feel free to steal it. Basically, some kind of quote, like if I have a blog post, I'll put a quote out there, either if it's me or if I'm quoting, sharing something from GreenGeeks, for example. The call to action, like a question usually, or sign up today, or learn more, then a shortened link. Twitter is the only one where I use shortened links, and that's because I believe in the old school retweet, where you could copy somebody else's tweet, go to their profile, click on it, paste, put RT in the front. And if you want to know more about that, I have a blog post, why I don't use Twitter's retweet button. And it's also the 0 search answer on Google for most places. So, and then the hashtags, 3 max. Twitter can't even handle that. Twitter people are like, what? 3 max. 1 is good. You don't always have to use a hashtag either. So experiment, use them or don't use them. But If I do use a link, I always put text after it. So either it's a hashtag or another part of the text, because people don't always know that when you see the card, whether especially on Facebook, when you see that card that comes up where it's your featured image and your meta description, a lot of people on Facebook actually don't know that they can click on that to read your posts. And LinkedIn and Facebook will take away your link in your post. And like, I have actually like taught so many social media courses with people, and they're like, what? You could click on that? And plus, don't forget the boomers are on there, and boomers have money. So make it easy. Okay, so here's an example. Recently, my very good friend Carol Stephen from Your Social Media Works was on my podcast, Launch with Words, which is available anywhere you listen to a podcast. So for this, I did some examples for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to show you. So you'll see the same thing because it's slightly different. So I took a quote from the podcast transcript, tagged her, put the short link, which I love bit.ly, and then a hashtag empathy. Because here's one thing that's really important about using hashtags on all the platforms, but especially Twitter and especially Instagram. Hashtags need to be from the text or related to the text, because if they're not, and especially on Instagram, you will be shadow banned, which means it's not that you can't just put Justin Bieber on there, right? It has nothing to do with Justin Bieber. It has to do with empathy. Empathy is the key point. So think of SEO words, because especially on Instagram, if you put just random keywords that have nothing to do with the actual text in your caption, Instagram will not serve that post to your followers. So it's not gone, it's not deleted, but that's why they call it shadow banned. So if it's effectively not seen. So that's the example. And notice that I have a featured image that's 1200 by 628, that's Facebook standard, and a specific meta description. And this isn't an SEO thing, but this is a really important reason why all pages and posts should have a call to action, meta description, whether you're using no SEO plugin, you put in the excerpt of WordPress, or you're using Rank Math or Yoast or what have you, all in one SEO or whatever. Make sure it's like about 155 characters. And it, a lot of the SEO courses you take will say, well, Google shows whatever. That's true, but social media shows that excerpt. Sorry, transcripts on this are going to be a challenge. Sorry. Okay, so emoji are not accessible. Emoji have accessibility issues. So, and I want to also point out that a lot of times people use voice assistants for voice search. Hey Siri, what was the last movie that Marlon Brando was in? Hey Alexa, order groceries from Amazon. Or, hey Google, how do I find the best website host that cares about the environment, right? That'd be GreenGeeks. So you want to make sure that whether you're using voice assistants because you have vision impairment or because it's just the way we live in 2022, you need to understand that emoji will affect how that's seen. So here's a quote from Tiny Cloud, and there's a link there, but obviously you can't click it because it's a webinar. But it says, for accessibility, emojis, I don't know why they say emojis, because emoji is plural, so whatever. For accessibility, emoji are best placed at the end of your message, social caption, or sentence. Whenever they're placed within a string of text, the screen reader expresses them with the emoji's alt text. So it disrupts the flow for visually impaired users and delivers a poor user experience. So for example, I was looking for something. Of course, it took forever to find something. This home and body shop, it can hold up to 5 pairs of pants at one time and make your closet tidier. Get it now with a link. And no hashtags, by the way, and some video. That's fine, whatever they want to do. So this is how that would be read by a screen reader. Face screaming and fear sparkles. It can hold up to 5 pairs of pants at one time and it will make your closet tidier. Fire, get it now. Backhand index finger pointing right. Like when you hear that, whether it's from Siri or your screen reader, I don't even remember what it said. I'm like, what? All I'm thinking is what? So that is the problem with emoji, like especially online. So here I like rewrote it for them in my way. I put, it can hold up to 5 pairs of pants at one time and it will make your closet tidier. Get it now with the link to the shop, hashtag spark joy, because I have a GIF of Marie Kondo down there, hashtag organization, hashtag closet hack. And as a note right here, hashtags should always be title case if you are using more than one word for the same reason, because the screen reader will say hashtag spark joy. Otherwise, they'll try to pronounce it as if it were one word. And on top of that, it makes it easier for those who are reading it with their eyes. Okay, so like here's the side by side. Like, first of all, my way is much bigger. Bigger is better when you're scrolling. And the other one looks like junk. And especially because the Home and Body Shop, their logo is the words, and it just looks like very difficult to read. It's very difficult to read. All right, next, formatting for Facebook. Same thing, intriguing quote or question, long link, call to action. I really like the long links for everywhere else, except for Instagram, because they don't let you have links unless you share something to your story. And that's a hack a lot of people don't know. Well, I will get to it. So this is that same post on my Facebook page. And if you are quoting somebody, tag them and know that this is one of the reasons why I don't like cross posting, because if you cross post, like Carol Stephen is Carol_Stephen on Twitter, STEPHEN, but that's not what she is on Facebook, and that's not what she is on Instagram necessarily, right? So don't, anyway, blah, 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 I already talked about that. LinkedIn, same thing, intriguing quote or question, long link, call to action, hashtag. Now, LinkedIn allows you to follow hashtags. Do you notice I didn't say hashtag on Facebook? This is why. First of all, most people do not click on hashtags. So I'll never forget teaching at WordCamp Los Angeles social media day, the beginner day, and I asked people how many, a group of 70, how many of you put hashtags on your Facebook post? About 67 people raised their hand. How many of you click on them? One person. Hashtags only exist so people click on that hashtag and find similar content. Hashtags are a link for search and filtering. Don't put the hashtag on there just because. And Facebook people do not use hashtags. However, on LinkedIn allows you to follow hashtags, just like Twitter does and just like Instagram does. So, and they allow pages to follow hashtags. So if you've seen any of my previous things, you're like, Bridget, you never said to use hashtags on LinkedIn. I'm like, well, they changed how they work. So guess what? I'm changing how I'm doing it. But even if you don't use a hashtag, I always sort of sandwich the link on LinkedIn. Now, a lot of people are like, don't use links in the post, just put them in the comment because LinkedIn doesn't want you to take people away. No platform wants you to ever leave. However, know this, if you do a post, it's a picture or just text, and you put link in the comment, it's like the stupid link in bio on Instagram. First of all, I don't want to go to your bio and click on it, and then I got to remember what it was that I was looking at. Now you got to remember, people on Instagram are really ADD. They're ADD people, and that is not an accessible thing for them. Remember that I'm old, ADHD is what it is. And anyone who is neurodivergent, that is covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So I don't know how it is in Europe, but it's a best practice. So LinkedIn, if you have a post that has a link and I share it, then I share the post with the link. But if you have a post that doesn't have the link and the link is in the comments, if I share your post, the link is no longer there. So the goal should always be that you want people to share your link to your website because you want people to go to your website. So if you're trying to kind of straddle them both, then I would say mix it up. Do some with the link and some without. And because the ones without are really good for engagement, but the ones with are better for sharing. So just mix it up. So don't be like, don't follow the trend of, oh, I only put a picture here and then I put the link in the first comment. And then I got to click on the comments. And guess what happens when you click on the comments? It shows the top comment. Maybe the top comment isn't the link to your thing. Now I'm frustrated and disincentivized from ever stopping while I'm scrolling to look at your post again. And that is a bad thing. Why? Because it takes 7 to 10 touches to make a sale. 7 to 10 touches, whether it's you're walking in that store or looking on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, or you're at a WordCamp, 7 to 10 touches, period. You need a combination of those things. So always kind of take it with a grain of salt. Don't go all in on anything. Do a little bit of best practices. All right, we see the chat is getting lively. So this is how it would look on LinkedIn. Instagram is where you get all the hashtags. That is so fun about Instagram. And people on Instagram follow hashtags. So Instagram is a great place for branding. I use it for myself for behind the scenes things, like things you're not going to see on Twitter, things more about me so that you relate to me and want to be part of my business. And great companies do the same thing where they're like not trying to necessarily push a blog post, but they want to give you information that's easy and consumable. It may come from a blog post, but it's there. It's easy to consume. It's so easy. You're not getting the goal of Instagram is not getting them to go to your website. The goal of Instagram is for them to stop, save your post, share your post to their story, comment, that kind of thing. So the call to action, there's no link here. However, once you post your post on Instagram, you can use that triangle paper airplane button to share. You can share it to your story. And then one of the little stickers is link. And then you can put a link in there. And if they happen to see your story, they can click there and then see your thing. So that's a little way to hack the link issue. But really what I want people to do, and I normally don't even share this podcast stuff on my account, but I wanted to show what it looks like. So yes, it's the same thing, slightly different. But I used empathy, marketing, podcast, social media, personas, because we talked about personas and the target audience on Instagram. So that was a lot of information. So I think that you should try it for a month, see what your results are. I would love to hear from you. hello@bridgetwillard.com or Bridget M. Willard on Twitter. And I feel like people just follow the influencers on Twitter without thinking about what they want them to do. And I am totally ready for questions.
I actually do have a question. Can I start?
Of course.
It's great how you're like going through each social media channel. How do you feel about those softwares like Sprout Social that post to all of the channels? You're against it, for it, or?
Well, I'm not really for or against, but I will say I do use Hootsuite for my clients, but only for Twitter. Because here's the problem with automating through a big thing like that. Now, it depends on the size of your organization. However, when you're not natively posting or opening the app, you will miss a lot. You'll miss a lot of the reasons why you're on social media, which is you commenting on other people's things or seeing the way it looks, because you'll see your post in Sochi or Sprout Social or Instagram. You'll see what it looks like. I'm not Instagram, Hootsuite or whatever. TweetDeck, you'll see how it looks on that platform, but you may not realize how it looks to people who are using the actual app or the actual website. You know, that's the thing. So do it, but don't set it and forget it to the point where you don't look and see what people are talking about or the tiny changes. For example, when for the short period of time that Twitter had tweets, which was their version of a story, you could only see that on the Twitter app, the Twitter mobile app. So it didn't exist. It wasn't in Hootsuite. It wasn't in like, Sprout Social is very expensive. Hootsuite's about $80 a month, but you know, I mean, it's just my technical dependency, right? So I know like makes managed WordPress hosting look cheap. It is like, what is it? $50? Pay it. It's your business. But you know what I'm saying? So, and right now, Twitter Spaces, which is their version of Clubhouse. I mean, Clubhouse is going to die. That's only on the app. You know, so like, for example, if your webinars later, like say your webinar had, okay, we're going to do a Q&A with Bridget on Spaces right after this, we have to be in the app.
Yeah, I
So,
understand.
So it's a little bit disconnected, but you still need something to organize the way you're going to do it. For my clients, I have a Google sheet of, you know, all the days and kind of some different columns of topics to make sure I'm kind of hitting topics. And then I schedule them in Hootsuite. But I use that calendar to go and post on LinkedIn or Facebook or create an Instagram post. So that's the way I work. But I just feel like it's being natively, if you have the time, or at least going and looking once every so often, look and see how things look.
Okay.
So you have the perspective of it's about that empathy, right? What is your customer seeing, you know?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a comment on the Q&A from Francisco Herrera. Let's see. Really very interesting. Just a comment. Sometimes we have no idea how to write on social networks and we copy what others do. It is good to have a basic idea of the ways to follow in each social network. Very interesting. Very good point.
I'm so happy. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is when I'm teaching of small business owners, which are like, I love small business owners. It's that fear. It's almost like this is a blank page. And I'm like, it's a tweet. It's 40 seconds. It's not that big of a deal, but it just feels like so permanent. You know, it feels like you are publishing, but there's that little bit of fear. And I feel like if you just do it a certain way, then it gives you kind of that structure that makes you feel safer, you know?
Yeah. Let me see. I don't see any other question in the Q&A. Let's see if there's any comments here in chat. Maria says, I put my contest winners in Instagram. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
I have a question, a little question.
Oh, thank you, Eric.
There is a time of the day when it's best to make a post. The time of the day.
What's the best time of day?
In different platforms.
So here's the thing. I feel like that there is no best time because let's say your best time is, you know, and Hootsuite, probably the other ones do it too. They start telling me, oh, this is the best time. Really? So the computers only know what we do. So if I always post at 9 a.m., then they're going to tell me the best time is at 9 a.m. because that's the only time I post. Now, we're global. Like GreenGeeks is global, I'm global. So I want to post at, if I post at 10 a.m., that is 5 p.m. in Europe. So that's a good time for Europeans. But 10 a.m. in Texas, that's not a good time. Like, you know, because this is what I think. The best time, like, when are you looking at Twitter? Or when are you looking at Facebook? So usually it's right before work, right after lunch, right before the end of the day, maybe like 9 or 10 o'clock. But because we have so many time zones for our products, there is no best time. So what I like to do is I like to stagger it. So when I'm scheduling for my clients, I'll go like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 p.m. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'll be like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., because I just want it all over the map. And then here's the other part of that, Erica, is that none of the social media platforms are truly chronological anymore. So if you go find a tweet from WordCamp Orange County where we had a selfie or something from 2018 or 2019, and then you comment on that, even if it's a tweet, it'll be a post bump. It'll show back up in the feed for the people that follow both of those.
True.
Right? So then, and it does that on Facebook. It's been doing that on Facebook forever. And the same with LinkedIn. Now, Instagram used to be chronological. And I loved that because I knew Terry Nakamura, who wrote the book Blogging on Instagram, by the way. If you haven't gotten this book, you should definitely get it. Oops, sorry, that doesn't really help when it's behind something. Blogging on Instagram by my friend Terry Nakamura. What she used to do is at 9 p.m., there would be 3 posts. So I knew that I could go in bed and be like, yes, I'm going to see 3 posts from Terry at 9 p.m. Now it's craptastic. You have no idea. It's like Woman Crush Wednesday, I see that on Sunday. Or like Taco Tuesday, I'm seeing that on Friday. None of that really helps anymore because there's no like specific time. It used to be really chronological, and now it's just like whatever. That's why commenting is such a good way to get your brand awareness. Like my friend Robert Nissenbaum is solid on that fact that you should be commenting on other people's posts more than you publish yourself, because that's when you get in these really great discussions, especially on LinkedIn. So the best time, I don't know. To me, there is no best time. It's more like being consistent. 1 tweet a day is life support. Twitter, you have more room for volume. Twitter and Instagram love volume. You can post on them as much as people will pay you. Like right now, I have 2 Instagram clients, and they're only getting 2 posts. Otherwise, I have no time for anything else. But Facebook once a week, who cares? Facebook, you just have to be there. It's a waste of time. Honestly, people just don't care. But LinkedIn and Twitter, like you could post every day, a couple of times a day on both of them, because people are there to read and they're there to learn. And that's another distinction I'd like to just point out, because I forgot to say this. I really love Twitter the best. And when you're looking for customers, you're going to want the highest educated, highest income earners. And on average, compared to other social media users, Twitter users have the highest education level and the highest income.
That is very interesting. Thank you, Bridget.
You're welcome.
Bridget, there's a comment question in the Q&A from Francisco. He is saying that sometimes we feel like we don't have much to say, especially when we're a small business. What can we do to have more ideas of topics to write? Some people always repeat the same post, or there is no variety. Also a very good question.
I love that question. You're right. It is a great question. So I have a plugin called Launch with Words, and the free starter pack has 12 blogging prompts for this exact reason. So if you want to try that, it's in the WordPress directory. But one of the best things you could do is actually have a piece of paper and a pen, and when something annoys you, like I always go like the things that bug me, like, oh yeah, what bugs me is, why did I cut my hair in bangs? Or this client doesn't understand this, or I need to talk about that, right? So like there needs to be a better way to remember my hex codes from my website, or whatever. Like whatever you're feeling that's frustrating you or you feel passionate about, that's what you should post. Because the more controversial, the better. I did have a guest on my podcast called Launch with Words Her name is Jen McFarland, and she says, be controversial, take a stand. So if you're like, listen, everybody, it's all about Web3, then talk about that. Or it's all about Tailwind, or it's all about Jamstack. Or, you know, like the other day I was like, I have so many clients, Anna and Erica, that publish to their blog posts, but they don't create a category. So it goes by default to uncategorized, and then uncategorized shows on the front end of their website, and it looks like you don't know what you're doing because you don't know what you're doing. And so I tweeted out, hey, WordPress devs, as soon as you build a website, delete that category. Like, do not let your clients do this. And then a bunch of people were like, yeah, I put blog, or I put general, or I put news. And, you know, you got to hear some different things. And then, you know, Mary Baum was like, that I totally agree with this. And I'm like, we should make this a track ticket in WordPress. So one thing that just was annoying me, I got a lot of good feedback on with my peers on Twitter. And then I'm thinking, maybe I should make this a suggestion for WordPress core, right? It's something that's just like kind of bugging you, but you never know what it will lead to, right? And you have these conversations with people and you remember them and they remember you because you had a conversation, you know?
I think I saw that, by the way, that you're referring to the whole conversation that you were having on categories.
Yeah.
I think there's no other question. There's a note here in the chat from Maria saying, regarding back to the issue with the time, she says she has clients who work shifts that constantly change, so they're viewing at different times. They will check when they have a break. They also are all over the world. And so I gauge it by the weekdays and weekends. So the answer to that question, you know, we work all over the world in different time zones.
Yeah.
Everybody's reading at different times. So
yeah,
there is not a perfect time to
Yes,
post.
and people aren't working 9 to 5 anymore. Like when I was in construction, the normal hours were 7 to 4, 7 to 3. I worked 8 to 5. So I would look at Twitter at 7:30, you know, or
that's true too.
you know,
and then
so
you have the remote, how everything went remote, you know.
I mean, I say
remote.
Twitter, but I'm talking about all of them.
Yeah,
so I drink my coffee in the morning and I go through all of my social notifications for myself and all of my clients. And I do it the last thing before bed. And, you know, when you're watching something, and this was the great thing about WordCamps, I will be honest, I really miss in-person WordCamps because people were tweeting and you really got to, those people the people that don't tweet that much or post that much on Instagram, they kind of came out and you got to see them more. You know, we had something to talk about because we're all watching this thing. So I'm really excited about WordCamp Europe happening. I can't go this year, but I'm really excited about it happening and praying that everybody is really safe with their health. But there's something about being in person and then being able to type those hashtags and being able to hear people is really, really good. And now that we have the other good thing about COVID, it's just weird to say it, but it is good that people have the choice to work at home. And these webinars are so good. You know, it's like, I can't afford to be a speaker this year or try to be at any camps. You know, I already took my ridiculous vacation. So the fact that you guys invited me on this and people can watch it for free, this is really a good thing, you know? So one thing you could say is like, hey, I'm going to start experimenting with my times that I post and see what happens. You know, people will talk to you about it. I put on Facebook the other day, did people really save this much money to buy a house? I think it has 40 comments. It was a little overwhelming, but but usually like when people know that you will reply to them and when people know that you care about their input, they will continue to engage with you. And that really is the reason, right? Oops, like that's like, let's go back up. Like, why are we on the social medias? Because we want to build relationships. We want that brand awareness. And ultimately, we want people to go to greengeeks.com and buy a web hosting package, right? That's what we want. So I can't help myself. I'm a marketer.
Yes,
you guys can't do it, but I can.
That's great. Thank you. I don't see any other question or comment. So why don't we go ahead, Erica? Let's do the giveaway and pick the 5 winners of the book.
Okay, I'm going
Thank
to share my screen. Okay.
Oh, how fun.
Fun.
Okay. Okay, first winner. Marilyn,
Marilyn.
congrats.
Okay.
Okay, second one. Matsuda. Congrats.
Yeah.
Okay, one more time. Meek, congrats. Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Woohoo! These are better odds than Vegas. Reverend Greg.
Great. And
Congrats.
the last.
And the last one. Samuel, congrats.
Great.
Woohoo!
So I will follow up and send your book to the lucky 5 winners.
Aw.
And it was a lot of fun. I love that. It was a lot of fun, really fun.
Yes,
It was
thank you, Bridget.
Thanks for
Also
having
great.
me.
Also so great seeing you since
Oh,
it's
for
been a
sure.
while.
Yeah,
And we hope to see you in person
soon.
at a camp
This year.
coming near you. So everybody, thank you for attending, and don't forget to follow our webinars, and we have one every month. The next one is going to be in May on elements, good elements for website design. So it's going to be a good one. And yeah, just keep looking at our webinars and come back. We like it.
Yay.
And
And
Bridget,
Thank you, everyone.
are people
thank you,
going
Bridget,
to
Banana.
have a replay?
yes, we have a recording of this. We're going to email it to everybody like in a couple of
Oh,
days, and then it
how
goes on
fun.
YouTube. It will be on YouTube forever.
I love YouTube. Oh my gosh, thank you guys. Thank you
Yeah,
so
you'll see
much.
Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Have
Anna.
a great day, rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.